I appreciate them so much, and I wouldn't be where I am today without them. I think that my experiences have been though so intense on both sides of the spectrum that I'm like, how can I be a voice for helping people find the moderation in it so that it's used very responsibly and we collectively take it seriously? Because when people are just like, yeah, bro, like take the ayahuasca and you're just going to heal everything and it's just the ultimate answer, and people kind of take it a little more casually collectively, I think it does a greater disservice to the movement of it becoming more socially acceptable and respected.
That's why I didn't smoke weed until I was 18, and then I didn't again until I was like 25 or 26.
Wow.
And so I was never really a weed guy. I always had this weird thing about my lungs because I play basketball, and just the visual thought of smoke entering my lungs was always a huge turnoff for me. Now it's fun, and I can approach cannabis with a different mindset. But I saw over the years how weed has gotten positioned in society as an essential business. It was essential during the pandemic. MedMen was essential out here. The weed shops in California were as open as grocery stores.
Wow.
And there are thousands of people in jail for nonviolent weed crimes. Still. And I wonder, though, playing off what you just said, weed was the first illegal drug to make it into the mainstream and become a capitalistic business.
Right.
Up next seems to be psilocybin and mushrooms.
Yeah.
And I worry about that because of exactly what you just said. What is the word? Commercialization of mushrooms would rip away the hundreds, thousands of years of practice and care and stewardship that people have put into that medicine, and how other cultures have guided that medicine through other people to allow evolution within their culture, and then that spread and it helped everybody evolve. And so I wonder that's what has me a little worried about that. And I wonder if we're going to hit a point where that ends up happening. And are you concerned about that at all for mushrooms or for anything else within that category?
It's funny. It's a yes and no, just like with cannabis, because likewise with cannabis, I think it's better that it's legal than it is illegal, but I also think it's better that there's good education about it, so that people know what they're doing and how to use it. Because even still, I think it's better that it's legal today, but I think it would be far even greater if people knew how much value could be attained from having it and then meditating,
right?
Or using it with a sacred intention. Likewise with all of these things, people are going to be taking mushrooms, buying it from the store and just having like a good time. And, in many cases, it'll probably lead to a lot of benefit for people, spontaneous spiritual transformations and such, right? Just as we likely have both had. At the same time, I've had a lot of bad trips with psilocybin as well. And that's also, hopefully, as it comes out, there will be more respect. I think that's the best thing that we can both hope for and work towards, is that it is, as it comes out, it is respected. Even if there was some kind of material or a class or something that could be universally, that could come along with it, so that it's like, all right, you're going to take mushrooms, please watch this video so that you understand the history and the. But then there's a challenge with that, because then if the government is the one who's putting that out, you're like, I don't know if I would really trust.
They got to hire you and give Patchman full creative reign.
I would be more than happy to provide any service and support to that endeavor.
That would be incredible.
And likewise and so forth for all of the adjacent psychedelics as they become more legal and available, which I think is ultimately going to be a good thing, because it teaches people, regardless, even if people have a very bad experience, it can be a learning vehicle or a learning tool for understanding the intensity and the severity and the multidimensionality of the mind and the heart and the emotions and the interconnections of us all. And if everybody was taking more of these, they would start to recognize, wow, like they would start to perceive other dimensions of themselves and each other, and hopefully come a little bit closer to themselves and each other, and in doing so, come closer to what could be described as spirit. But even in then, you know, like you said, like I don't really like using the word God, you said. And I think that's true for a lot of people. A lot of people might really get a lot of value out of the psychedelics, and they don't want to use the word God because they don't believe in God. The point shouldn't be believing in God. You know, it doesn't really matter what I believe. And if there is a spirit or not, maybe all of those experiences that I've had, these come to Jesus moments and moments of divine revelation or meeting God in whatever capacity, maybe that was all just a way for my own imagination and, you know, my soul, if I have one, or my consciousness, right, to know itself a little bit better and come closer to wholeness. It could be all something that's just within me. From the perspective of an atheist, that could be very well true. And I don't want to insist that if you're an atheist and you're a really good person, I don't want to try and change your mind. You have a beautiful perspective. If you're living your life and you're doing good work in the world, you're giving to others, you're supporting charities, you're helping the homeless or the sick or the impoverished in some way, and you're trying to make the world a better place, I think you've got it right. You know, because that's what it's really about. It's doing good in the world, not so much about trying to make everyone believe the same thing. We don't have to believe the same thing, you know, and it's likely that we're not ever all going to believe the same thing. But if we're making the world a better place, genuinely, by actually doing good things, then I think we're on the right track, because that's true virtue, right? And we should be striving for virtue and being virtuous rather than proselytization. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the value that you put in. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great, dude. I love that. Thank you.
Watch the full episode of the Good Trip podcast using the link in the description. Enjoy.